Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, thank you so much for the introduction, and let me start by thank my colleague Frank Engel for being the host of this event, and also thank the organizers for their work in preparing this seminar today. I think it's very timely, and when I say it's timely, it's not because I recently visited Nagorno-Karabakh myself, but rather that the strengthened relationships between the EU and Armenia serves as a basis for an assessment of EU efforts in the Karabakh conflict. I say this because in order to find constructive and workable ways forward, one needs to establish policies that are built upon a holistic view on this very region. The success of the SEPA negotiations with Armenia indicates that this view is also embraced by the European Union. It should be welcome, but one piece in the puzzle remains for a holistic EU policy to be established, and that is a hands-on approach with regards to Nagorno-Karabakh. We know the facts. The European Union today lacks any representation in the region, and no visits are made due to the Azeri lack of tolerance when it comes to visits to the conflicted area. The result is a diplomatic isolation of the region, with consequences, of course, for the inhabitants. For instance, it is unacceptable that students from Nagorno-Karabakh, because of diplomatic pressure from Azerbaijan, are being prohibited from studies in EU countries. As members of this House, of this Parliament, we are advocates for negotiations and for political dialogue, which is why I personally went to visit Nagorno-Karabakh in January. Upon my visit, I saw how this region's residents do their best to build a functioning social system despite the isolation, despite the permanent threat of a military conflict. I noted the fundamental changes to secure the independence of courts. I also noted that the Ombudsman and his office are very active in both the US administration and the OSCE have supported this proposal, as this step would minimize violence in border areas. Azerbaijan has not accepted the proposal, and although the proposal was presented 2 years ago, there is still no monitoring equipment in place. In this context, I would like to commend the organizers' proposal of deploying a monitoring mission of the Council of Europe. This could be an alternative way forward in order to bring clarity to issues of responsibility for violence. Secondly, as we all know, the Republic of Artsakh is not recognized by the European Union member states, which makes it impossible to establish normal diplomatic relations. However, in other cases, the EU has been able to carry out humanitarian work in territory of unrecognized entities, which also should be possible in Nagorno-Karabakh. Thirdly, today peace talks only take place between Armenia and Azerbaijan. We must find a way to ensure that the people of Nagorno-Karabakh also can be heard, and as used to be the case during the 90s. My experience from working on the issue of Kosovo-EU relationship is that the technical dialogue between Belgrade and Pristina would not have taken place would it not been for the potential benefits for both parties in terms of closer cooperation and relationship with the EU. I think the organizer's suggestion for the EU to pursue a shuttle diplomacy trilogue between Baku, Stepanakert and Yerevan is constructive, even if the EU indeed would have to muster its full soft power arsenal in order to get it to work. This does not mean that we should start talking about EU membership. I think that would be unwise for many reasons. At the same time, in the case of Serbia and Kosovo, the ambition to establish a functioning democracy with the rule of law has been a major precondition for the openness of EU to agreements profitable to those two countries. Of course, the EU should stick to its more for more approach in case of increased diplomatic efforts in Caucasus. Finally, within the framework of the Eastern Partnership and beyond, the EU must be more proactive in its contribution to conflict resolution and human rights in the region. Dialogue between the parties is the only way to build trust and reach a long-term solution of the conflict, something that the troubled and isolated population of Nagorno-Karabakh truly deserve. Thank you so much.